Hi guys, Charles here. I would like to tell you a little bit about myself before I start. I am not a prophet. I'm not a pastor. I am a regular person that's been studying the Bible. I grew up in a Baptist family and I grew up the Baptist way. But then I started seeing other things and I started studying the Torah. I've actually studied some of the Quran, read the Quran, and other Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh day Adventist. I've been through Catholic, a lot of different churches. I studied all them. And I studied the Jewish, the Torah. And I've been studying the Torah probably the most. And so what I'm coming up with is different than most Studians have heard. And I believe that I understand the book of Revelation. I keep trying to disprove what I know, and I can't disprove it. Time and time again, I've looked into it, and I keep coming up with the same answer. So I want to go through and teach on the book of Revelation. I'm going to go through the chapters at a time, and I'm not going to get too detailed. I don't like to talk about what other people believe because I want to tell you what I think. You already know what other people believe, so study what I have to say and see what you come up with. I will throw from time to time big points that people make on certain things, but very seldom. So I would like to start with the first 3 chapters of the book of Revelation. The first chapter talks about Jesus. He talks about different attributes of him. He talks about a golden girdle. He talks about the eyes of fire and all the different attributes. There's a bunch of them there. And he introduces himself. And I believe that's the chapter that he introduces himself to you and to let you know this is him. And it is his book. He is the revelator. Now, the next 2 chapters are on the churches. It has the 7 churches, Laodicea and the others. Now, here's a take on them. Well, I'm not going to get too long on them. I'm just going to give you just basic stuff out, and you got the scriptures there to read for yourself. I'm not going to get real winded and go into real heavy detail, but it's very simple. The 7 churches were synagogues back in the day of Paul and the apostles. The churches were formed. There were synagogues, and they all kept the Sabbath. They all kept the days and all that like Jesus did back in the day. They disappeared from history. Nobody knows where they are, but the first church that popped up was 120 years later after they disappeared back in the day. And that church was the Catholic Church. Now, hear me out. All these churches believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. They are God's churches. We can't deny that. Some are doing it well. Some aren't doing as well. And the last one they say is Laodicea. But I believe that they all have a bit of information. They have all went underground, and I think they all started popping up. The Catholic Church was first. Then you have the Coptic Christians. You have the Anabaptists. You have 7 distinctive churches that popped up, and all these other churches that we have today are branches off them. Now, all the churches today believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Now, we differ on baptism. They thought about baptism back in the day. They believe different Sunday. They believe in keeping Saturday. They be clean and unclean foods. Many different things are different about all these different churches. They believe whether you should immerse, whether you should be sprinkled, whether you pray to Mary or believe in Mary. Some believe that there's life after death, and other people believe that when you die, you're dead. So there's all these different beliefs of all these churches, and all these churches believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Now, what is the point of being a Christian? How do you become a Christian? You believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. So all these churches believe on Jesus, but they have many different views. Now, I believe what happened was Jesus hid a piece of himself in each of one of these churches. Each church has a little bit of the truth. Even the Jehovah's Witnesses, they have a bit of the truth. Even though they're kind of far in the deep end in the 7th day, they believe in the Sabbath. They believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. You can say other things they do you don't like, which you disagree with, but they still hold a piece of the truth. So, this is what I think. that Jesus hid a piece of himself to keep it alive. Because if it was one true synagogue, big church, it would have probably been destroyed. But in this way, we're all fighting against ourselves, and the world's looking in at us, and we all have a bit of the truth. So I believe in the end times, all these churches are going to get together and come on the same page. It will be all be in accordance with the truth, because we will be shown the truth. So I believe that's what's coming. And they are not, I want to mention, they are not errors, different errors of the church. Think about it, how different they are, and how could it be that? So there's several other churches are mentioned in the last days. So if you have a couple of these churches say, I want to take your candlestick out, I'm coming back to get you, and it does say that in the last days these churches are, how can be errors when a couple of them's in the last days it's mentioned? So rethink it, relook at it, and tell me what you think. So may God bless, and food for thought.